Hi guys, welcome back to coding lecture at Newton School. So Newton School is a platform which basically trains you for a career in tech, and it has launched a new initiative called Launchpad. You can visit the Launchpad section by going to Newton School website, click on Launchpad, and you can read about it. Basically, it is about giving programming courses from scratch for absolute free of cost, and this video is also a part of that initiative only. So you can find all the quizzes, assignments, everything in Launchpad section. So in the previous video, we had started with object-oriented programming, a very basic introduction of what is OOPS, why do we need it, and what are the benefits of OOPS. So in this video, we will see about classes and objects, and also about the features of object-oriented programming. So let us see about classes and objects. What is a class? Class is basically a blueprint of object. It is like a group. Okay, it is like a group of similar things, or maybe I should say a group of things that have same characteristic behavior. So let us take example only. Let us say we have some boxes. Okay, we have different types of boxes: red box, blue box, big box, small box, and all those types of things. So what I'll do, I'll say, okay, let us make a class called box. And in this class, all the necessary data and all the necessary functions or operations that we can perform on those boxes, all that will be stored in this class. So if you have watched the previous video, you will know that the reason why we use object-oriented programming is because with the help of class and objects, we can organize our code in much better manner. For example, just imagine you have one red color box and one blue color box. Okay, both are just of different colors, but all the dimensions and everything is same. But you want to perform different operations with those two different boxes. If you want to like check a volume of a box, say volume of red box, and you want to find out only the maybe length or breadth of the blue box. Basically, if you want to do different operations, then if you follow procedural programming, you will write different functions for each and every box. That is not needed over here. Instead, what we can do, because they both are boxes having some similar characteristics, we can group them and put them in one particular class only. So I'm using C++, okay? And in C++, the way you declare class is something like this. So I made a class called box. Now it will have some data members. For example, let us say length of the box. Let us say width of the box, or maybe I can say height. Height will be better, right? Excuse me. Okay, so some n number of data you can have. So what happens is, if you just declare it like this, then all these data members will be private to this class. And what is the disadvantage of that? If you want to access this height, this width with the help of an object which is defined outside the class. Now, what is an object? Object is an instance of this class. Class is blueprint of object. So basically what we can do is we can say, okay, box, fine. Box, we'll say box B. So we have created an object of this class. How did we do that? So I guess you're not able to see, 1 second. Yeah, so if we write like this, box B, it means we have declared an object of class box. Okay. And suppose I want to know what is the height of the box, or I want to set the height of the box, anything. So if I try to access these parameters now, then I will get error, because these are private and there is a rule. If data members are private to a class, then we can't access them outside the class. So we'll discuss about public public, private, protected access specifiers in a separate dedicated video. For this video, just remember that, and for now we will keep all the data members and the functions as public only, which means it can be accessed anywhere outside the class also. Okay, so now I have mentioned two attributes, height and width, and I made an object, box B. Okay, so we know now what is a class. It is a blueprint of object. Object is instance of a class. Okay, and let us now discuss some features of OOPS. So what is the first feature? So feature 1 is abstraction. So abstraction is basically hiding all the unnecessary details and expressing only the necessary details. How can we implement this using object-oriented programming? So let us come to our example. We have a box. Okay. Now, suppose we are only interested in its measurements and not the color of the box. For example, we are not interested in color of the box. So how we can implement that is, we can declare in private section. We can say, okay, whatever the color may be, let it be anything. We are not going to bother about it. It will be only inside our class. It can't be accessed outside our class and nobody will get to know anything about it. So this is one example of abstraction, which is basically hiding the unnecessary details. So in our example, we only are interested about measurement of the box. We are not interested about color. So hide it. So you can hide it like this, private, make it private. Okay. So this is one feature, which is abstraction. Now, second feature is what? Second feature is encapsulation. So what is encapsulation? Encapsulation basically means data and the functions associated with the data are bound together, which means that, consider an example like this. Okay, I have a class box and I have two data members, height and width, and I have a function. So I'll say output. Okay, so let it be a void function, and I'm just going to print this thing. The dimensions of the box. So we have data here and we have a function here which is operating on that data, and both of them are bound with each other, bound to each other in one particular class. So this itself is encapsulation. So this is a feature. And why is this important? As I told you, in procedural programming, we had to write instructions. We had to write different functions for each and every new data that is added. So if you watched the previous video and you have watched the part when I discussed about the difference between OOPS and procedure programming, in OOPS, adding data is easy because data is given more importance to function. Okay. So why is all that possible? Because of the feature of OOPS and because of encapsulation. Because we can now access the data and the function without disorganizing our code. So this is second feature, which is encapsulation. Now third feature will be, actually let me show you the second feature. So what I'll do, I'll say b.height. So if you want to set any parameter or you want to call any function, you can use dot operator. So b.height is 10 and b.width is 10. And I'll say b dot output. So let us see what will be printed. Can you guess what will be printed? Pause the video and try to guess. So as you can see, if I run, it is going to give me 10, 10, because see, void output, what are we doing? We are printing height and width, and we have set our height and width to what? We have set our height and width to 10, and we are calling the output function using the dot operator. So dot operator is used to either assign a value or to call a function. Okay, so there are a lot more other concepts like constructor, destructor, which we will be discussing in the future part. This is just a basic introduction. So feature 2 is encapsulation. Now let us see what is feature 3. Feature 3 is inheritance. Inheritance means if there is a class and there is another class, we can access the members and the functions of one class if the class is inheriting the properties of another class. So let us say I have a class called shape. Okay, and let us say I have another class called rectangle, and it is inheriting properties of another class. So the properties that are inherited, the class which is inheriting the properties is derived class, and from wherever it is inheriting, that is base class. So in our case, class shape is base class and class rectangle will be derived class. So we write something like this. Okay, we say class rectangle and we put semicolon here, and we'll say what is the access specifier. So we will discuss about this in detail in another video which is dedicated for inheritance. For now, everything will be public. Okay, and we'll put the name of, we'll write the name of the class, we'll write the name from where the properties are being inherited. Name of the class is here. Okay, then what we can do now? So what did we actually achieve now? We made a class rectangle. Now rectangle has all these properties already. It has height, it has width, and it will also have this function to output. So what extra we can do now? We'll say public, and we'll say void area. Let us find the area now. Okay, let us find the area. We'll say cout height into width. So let us print the area. So now, what changes should I make over here? Can I make, if I have to print the area, can I print the area by making a object of type shape? So instead of this thing, what I'll do is, if I make an object of class shape, can I access this function? No, it won't make sense. So in inheritance, we will always make object of derived class only if we don't want to make use of virtual function. That we'll learn in another video. So we'll make an object of class rectangle. Okay, and now look at the beauty of it. We will set the height of the rectangle as 10, and we will set the width of the rectangle as 5. You observe that we have not declared any data members height and width in rectangle. We have declared only in class shape, but we are able to write like this because rectangle is inheriting the properties of class shape. Now what we'll do, we'll say, okay, output I want to output the dimensions. Also, now I want to output the area. So what will be printed now? Pause the video and tell me what will be printed in the comments. So if you observed, there was an error here because I didn't put semicolon. So whenever you declare a class, you need to put semicolon. So the way you declare a class is class, keyword is class, name of the class, brackets, and after the closing bracket, you have to put semicolon immediately. Okay. So what will be the output? What do you expect? So if you run and check, you can find out that the output is 10, 5, and 50. So 10 is height, width is 5, and output is 50. So if you're wondering where am I coding here, actually this is a Newton School Playground. What you can do is you can log in. If you log in, if you make an account, then you can create your own this thing, playground, like this. So I have logged in, and you can go to playground over here, and you can make your own playground, which is basically your editor. So that is how I have got this. So the third feature was this thing. Inheritance. Now what is fourth feature? Feature 4 is polymorphism. So we'll discuss in detail about inheritance and polymorphism in a dedicated separate video. But in this video, I just want to give introduction. Now, what is polymorphism? Polymorphism means that we can use the same function, the function with same name, and perform different operations. It means, for example, I have here height and width. Now I'll make a function called add. Okay. And here it is going to take parameters x and y. Okay. And I'm going to print height plus x and width plus y. In another function, I'll call it void only, add, and I'll take only one variable. And what I'll do is, to the area, I will multiply x. So what is basically happening is there is a function with there are two functions with same name, but it has different signature. Signature means either return type is different or number of arguments are different. Okay, see here, number of arguments are different. Okay, so in this case, compiler will decide at compile time which function should be invoked. It means that now if I say, see, now I'm using concept of inheritance plus polymorphism. So although I have declared all this in class shape, I can access through the object R only. So what I'll do is r.add, I'll say 2, 3. And let us see what happens. We got error. What is the error? Okay, there is no output. Yeah, we removed output. So we are getting 12 and 8. So is it correct? We passed x comma y as 2, 3, and our height and width was 5 and 10 respectively. So 10 plus 2, 12, 5 plus 3, 8. Yeah. So what did I want to convey? Two functions having the same name but different signature. Signature is either different parameter or different type of different argument list, different number of arguments, or different return type. So this is one more feature, polymorphism. And concept of polymorphism also it can be extended to runtime polymorphism, which is implemented by the use of virtual functions. We'll discuss that in a complete dedicated video. This is compile time polymorphism. It's an example of compile time polymorphism with the help of function overloading. This is called function overloading. Okay, so these were the 4 features basically. And let me decrease the height a little bit. So these were the 4 features, and class and object. I hope you got the intro part. Okay, so I will explain all these concepts in the upcoming videos in much more detail, especially inheritance and polymorphism. So that's all for this video. I hope you got a basic understanding, at least a basic introduction. If you like the video, hit the like button. Please share this channel with all your friends as much as possible. Subscribe to the channel if you have not yet subscribed, and stay tuned for the next videos. And I'll also be uploading short YouTube shorts, and that will be for some quizzes, output, find the output kind of questions, and all those things. So that's all for this video. You can also check Launchpad section over here for other free courses, assignments, etc. So I'll meet you in the next video. Bye.